What's going on, Giants fans? We are wrapping up week 1 of NFL free agency. And if you like what Joe Schoen and the New York Giants have done, go down and like this video. I think they've done a good job of being bargain shoppers, haven't had a lot of cap space to work with, so they've made the moves they can. So if you like what they've done, go down right now and like this video. What's going on, Giants fans? Welcome into New York Giants Now by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Marshall Green, and today's show, we're going to take a look at every single move the Giants made in the first week of NFL free agency, and we'll look at some moves that they didn't make and some guys that they were not able to re-sign some of their own players in free agency. But first, I think it's important to hit this tweet from Dan Duggan, who covers the Giants from The Athletic. He talked about the salary cap and where the Giants sit right now. He said the NFLPA database has the Giants with $6.3 million in cap space, but that doesn't include the Glowinski $3.4 million, the Taylor $2.7 million, or the Kreiter question mark. It's to be announced, and Seals Jones' contract is also to be announced. The signings or the Ryan release, the Logan Ryan release, which is expected to clear just $775,000 in cap space. That one hurts. Again, still expecting a Bradbury move sooner or later. So with $6.3 million in cap space and a couple of the moves not yet on the books, they could make some more moves. But the most notable move so far for the New York Giants was signing the right guard Mark Glowinski to the 3-year, $20 million contract with $11.4 million guaranteed. And I like this move for the New York Giants because he's a solid player and it fits a position of need. When you go back and look what he did for the Colts in the 2021 NFL season, you got to remember, they have one of the best run-blocking offensive lines in the National Football League. An overall grade of PFF 70.1. Anything above 70 is pretty good. It's above average. Run blocking, he was 70.6, and pass blocking, he was 62.6. He allowed 2 sacks. He's a better run blocker than pass blocker, no doubt about it, but he's just about an average football player. He was an overall the 21st best guard according to PFF in the National Football League and the 22nd best run blocking guard in the National Football League according to Pro Football Focus. An average player, but an above average run blocker, and this is someone that's going to bolster this offensive line because average is better than what they had last year. The next move they made on the offensive line, the guard for the Buffalo Bills, Jon Feliciano, but he's going to play center for the New York Giants. He's been really vocal about wanting to play center because he truly believes that's the position he succeeds at the most. He tweeted a couple hours after he was signed that said, "I've sat behind dudes at center that have made $11 million. I'm ready for my chance." I like that chip on the shoulder mentality. I've got a chip on my shoulder to succeed in New York. You got to have a chip on your shoulder. It's a 1-year deal. The contract full details are to be announced. Once we get those out, we'll get those to you. And I think this is just a move that's going to help. It's got the ties to Brian Daboll. It's got the ties to Joe Schoen. And it's got the ties to the new Giants offensive line coach, Bobby Johnson. So we got Feliciano, we got Glowinski, and maybe they're going to add an offensive lineman or two in the NFL draft. So what is your confidence level in the Giants offensive line right now? Scale it from 1 to 10. Then 10 being, this is the best unit the Giants have ever had. 1 is, oh my God, we're going down the same damn path again. I give it about a 6, and that's about 3 points higher than it was just before free agency started. I still think this room needs a lot of work, but there are moves that are made, and it's definitely going to benefit them down the line. They can address those needs in the NFL draft. So get in the comment section, let me know. Scale it 1 to 10. If the Giants make another move, I can guarantee you we will be making a video here on this channel, youtube.com/NYGiantsTV. And look, we're trying to get to 7,000 subs. We just crossed over 6.5K, and that's a credit to everybody that watches these videos. And turn on your notifications, because you're going to want to be notified when a move gets made, because I promise you will be one of the first videos out on YouTube breaking it down. So go down right now and hit that big red button. One of the more sexy and more eye-popping moves that the Giants made this offseason was signing Tyrod Taylor to the 2-year, $11 million deal with $8.5 million guaranteed. He can earn up to about $18 million with incentives, but that would require him to be a starter, and he's coming here to be a backup, and he talked about that, but we'll get into that in just a quick second. But I want to look at what he did for the Houston Texans last year when he was their starter for 6 games. He completed just 60% of his passes, which is pretty low. about 1,000 yards through the air in 6 games. That's okay. 5 TDs, 5 interceptions. The stats aren't too sexy, but this is someone that is a dependable backup and has earned his stripes in the NFL. When he was the starter for the Buffalo Bills from 2015 to 2017, his record was 22-20. A TD to interception ratio of 51-16. Completed about 63% of his passes. Tyrod Taylor is a pro's pro in the National Football League, and he's going to provide some security in the Giants quarterback room. There's no more Mike Glennon we got to worry about. There's no more Nick Glennon or Jake Fromm that we got to worry about taking QB sneaks on 2nd or 3rd down. Tyrod Taylor, if Daniel Jones goes down, will be able to win and help the Giants compete. But when we've talked about Tyrod Taylor on this channel in the prior videos of this week, a lot of you guys were in the comments saying he should be the starter. I don't agree with that, so I'd go down and type DJ, but I want to know where all of you stand. Who do you want to be the starting quarterback for the New York Football Giants? I'm really curious where you stand. Type DJ for Daniel Jones or TT for Tyrod Taylor. My favorite move outside of Glowinski which was the number 1 move, and that's the one they shelled the most money out to. But this one is one of my favorites because I really believe that Ricky Seals-Jones can be a person and a piece in this offense that can succeed. The contract details are still TBA. I expect it to be a 1-year deal for a low amount of money. But Ricky Seals-Jones talked about in his introductory press conference that he wants to plant some roots with the New York Giants. He's moved all over throughout his young NFL career, and he knows that this is a team that he can take over as the starting tight end this year. His stats and what he's done in the National Football League, we got 2021, 19, 18, and 17. We don't got the 2020 stats because he only played in 1 game, didn't have a catch, had some injuries. But in 2021, when he was with the Washington football team, he played in 13 games, had 30 grabs for 270 yards, about 9 yards a catch, and 2 touchdowns. One of those touchdowns being against the New York Football Giants on Thursday Night Football when he ran the fade route in the back of the corner and went on the top of a Dory Jackson and plucked it off the top of his head. In Cleveland, in 2019, 14 grabs, 230 yards, and 4 touchdowns. This guy is a red zone target, and the thing I like about him is he played quarterback in high school, at Sealy, Texas, a 5-star commit. Went to Texas A&M, played receiver. This is someone that's a tight end that is a receiving threat. He hasn't popped yet, but in a Brian Daboll offense where other tight ends have exceeded, you can put this guy in the slot as a big slot. He can play outside as your X receiver. This is definitely a new age tight end that the Giants haven't seen since what? Martellus Bennett. Evan Ingram hasn't lived up to the hype. I'm really excited to see what Ricky Seals-Jones can do with the New York Giants. Robert Foster, the next Giant playmaking receiver that they signed. The thing is, he hasn't really done much in the National Football League since 2018 when he was with, you guessed it, the Buffalo Bills. The Giants, they've signed a lot of players that they've had a connection with because that's what you got to do when you are bargain shoppers. Joe Schoen has said it time and time again. You draft your players, you build through your draft, and you pay your draft picks. Robert Foster in 2018, he was solid. 27 grabs, 541 yards, about 20 yards per pop, and 3 touchdowns. But since then, he's only had 5 grabs for 101 yards. Last year, he was on the Dallas Cowboys practice squad, so he's definitely trying to get his way back into the National Football League, and with a team that he's familiar with, and Joe Schoen, he could succeed with the New York Giants. I wouldn't expect him to be anything more than a depth piece and a guy that's competing for a roster spot. The Giants, they did sign C.J. Board to a 1-year deal, and this is really just a special teams type of move. C.J. was really good with the Giants in the special teams area last year. He had a couple big catches, but this is really just a depth and a special teams move. I like it. You keep some familiarity in that wide receiver room, someone that Daniel Jones has a little trust in. We've seen him throw it deep to C.J. Board, so you get another special teamers back. That's good because you lost one, and we'll talk about that in a second, and it adds some security and a little bit of a trust factor with Daniel Jones. But what is a bigger need for the New York Giants? Is it tight end or is it offensive line? The only real playmaking tight end you got right now is Ricky Seals-Jones. You don't have a right tackle, and you could use another guard. So I want to know, tight end, O-line, get in the comments, what's a bigger need for the New York Giants? Another move the Giants made was cutting Logan Ryan. And what do you know? Less than 24 hours later, he went and signed with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He's teaming up once again with his guy, Tom Brady. And this move just didn't make a lot of sense to me. You have an $11.5 million dead cap hit, and you only save about $800,000. And there's rumors coming out that this was more than just a cap casualty cut. Supposedly, he didn't fit the culture and the new wave of the New York Giants, and he wouldn't have fit in the Don Wink Martindale defense. But it just sucks to see Logan go because he's a captain, and he's still a good football player, and you only save $800,000. So that was a head-scratching move for me. Another player the Giants are going to be bringing back is Evan Ingram, the former first-round draft pick out of Ole Miss, the speedy tight end playmaking guy. Didn't make a lot of plays for the Giants, but he did make some. Had more bad, memorable moments than good, but at the end of the day, he was solid for the New York Giants, just never lived up to that first-round pick. A one-year deal for $9 million and $8.25 guaranteed for the Jacksonville Jaguars. They also let go or didn't bring back Austin Johnson, a player that I really wanted them to bring back because he exceeded expectations last year with the Giants. He played well, and he got himself a bag. 2 years, $14.5 million. Hats off to you, Austin Johnson. That's how you sign a prove-it deal and go get your money. I wanted him back with the Giants, but at the end of the day, you can't re-sign everyone, and that Giants, they didn't really have enough money to keep Austin Johnson. Another player they didn't bring back, Keon Crossan, the special teams specialist. He was great with the Giants this past year on special teams. He was a great gunner. He was great on kickoff, good on punt. He was a good player, but the thing is, he got a good deal from the Dolphins. 3 years, $10.5 million. The Giants, they had no money to be paying a special team specialist, $3.2 million. But it sucks to see him go because he was a good locker room guy, and he added a couple big plays with the Giants on defense last year, had a couple sacks later in the season. The Giants, they're also bringing back Casey Kreiter, the long snapper. You probably haven't heard of him because he's a long snapper, and that's a good thing when you don't know who the long snapper is, because the only time the announcers bring up the long snapper is when they messed up the snap on the field goal, or on the punt team. So Casey's back. He's a good long snapper, and he's good in punt coverage. Another guy that they're bringing back that I'm really excited about is Jarren Williams, the multi-talented, multifunctional young defensive back. He can play in the slot. He can play outside. He's good in special teams, and he can play a little bit of safety. He popped with the Giants in the second half of the season, so I'm glad he's back. Those contract deals, I almost just burped on show, are not out yet. When they come out, we'll make sure to fill you guys in. So we just ran through every move the New York Giants made and didn't make in NFL free agency so far. They may still have some money. At the beginning of the show, it said they had about $6 million left, and if they trade James Bradberry, they save another 12. So get in the comment section and let me know. Name another free agent you want the Giants to sign. If you made it this far in the video, give us a like. I appreciate everyone that watches these videos. We can't do the things we do here on Giants Now without your support. So I appreciate you. Like this video. Give me a follow on Twitter @MarshallGreen_. We finally crossed 1,000 followers. So I don't got to ask you guys to follow me anymore to get to 1,000. Now we're trying to get to 2,000. So give me a follow @MarshallGreen_.